So today we are finally going to be discussing The Return of the King. So if you're new to my Lord of the Rings discussions, not really reviews, this is my second read through of the series, so I am by no means an expert on these books at all, but this is my second time reading through them. I love the series and it's been really fun re-experiencing it all and getting to fall back in love with these characters and this world again. I remembered significantly less than I thought in this series. So the second read through was sort of like my first read through in a lot of the details. One thing that really surprised me on this read through was I forgot how short this book is. About half of it is the appendix. Yeah, starts right there. So this part is the actual story. Not only is this part of the story very short, but also the story, the battle, the main thread of the story ends really early on. About half of this book that is story is them defeating the Sauron. And then we go back to the Shire and see the characters go back to their lives. And I've seen this criticized before, that the ending of The Lord of the Rings is very boring. I don't feel that way. I've never experienced a story where the author spends so much time allowing us to regroup from war and from the big event of the story with the characters for so long. I really liked it because it once again made the story feel really real. That's one thing that Tolkien does. He loves his details. He loves his descriptions. He loves just really fleshing things out as much as he can. And that's part of what makes this world feel so real and makes it so fun to get totally lost in, is because really nothing is skimmed over at all, including the aftermath. When we go home, we're gonna go home with these characters and we're gonna readjust to life with them and we're gonna see them pretty much to the end. I really liked that. I wouldn't want it in every book I ever read, but it fits Tolkien's style. It fits what he's done throughout this entire book, or books, however you view it. It's what he's done throughout this entire series. He has taken his time to deliver the full story to us, the full descriptions and world to us, and it makes sense that he did that in the end too. Of course, the ending is epic. I mean, so intense. We're essentially following two threads this time, which we've been split up. Our characters, our crew, have been split up a lot. But for this final sequence, we're essentially following two threads. We have the final battle and siege of Gondor and Ministeria, maybe? And then, of course, the victory led by Aragorn and his army that he brings. Oh, he becomes king. He was ready for it from the beginning. That's one thing that the books did different, is Aragorn has been ready to fulfill his position, whereas in the movies, he was kind of like a hesitant heir to the throne, but he's been ready. And so seeing him from the beginning ready to fulfill his destiny and his duty, and then finally watching it happen in this book, was really satisfying. It wasn't the hesitant, reluctant hero. It was the man who has been preparing for this and ready for this the whole time we've known him, and then to see him do it and do it so well was so satisfying. One thing that Tolkien does amazingly, in my opinion, is his battle sequences. He does such a good job of bouncing from character to character and from situation to situation, so that we're seeing the whole scope of the battle. And as description heavy as Tolkien is, watching him have such a great balance of action and information, I think that's one thing that he loves to do, is when moments of the story are slow, Tolkien makes the reading slow. And when moments are abrupt and fast and scary for our characters, he writes them very abruptly and with very little detail. And this battle, man, I loved how much detail and yet how little detail we were provided. He does a great job of making the pacing of the novel feel like the pacing that the characters are experiencing as well. And it was just really well done. It was a battle that I loved reading and loved experiencing. It was tragic and heartbreaking, and exciting and full of so much victory and reward. Then we have the other plotline that we're following, and that is Frodo and Sam, the humble, quiet heroes. So I've talked about this in my other videos about how amazing it is to see these hobbits as our heroes. We start off book one with them in the Shire, and so we get to see them living their humble, quiet lives, satisfied with no movement, no action. Hobbits love peace and quiet, and to choose 4 hobbits to be the ring bearer, specifically one hobbit to be the ring bearer, it truly shows off their strength, that they're literally going against their own nature to be the heroes of the story. And we really get to see Frodo struggle in this, interestingly enough, hardly at all, if at all, from first person this time around. We mostly see other people experiencing Frodo's pain and struggle from the outside. The weight of the ring is starting to wear him down to the point that he is essentially dying. He has no strength anymore. He can't go on. And Sam's been amazing from the first page. Sam has been this sweet, loyal man who started off as Frodo's servant, started off as a gardener, and his devotion for Frodo is unmatched. And we got to see this loving relationship blossom between them, and the dedication and devotion between the two of them that was so beautiful. And Sam, my man, will sacrifice anything to see Frodo get to where he needs to be. I loved watching this because in book 2, when Frodo dies, or we think he does, you know, Sam goes through that entire inner struggle of saying, I don't want to be the hero. I don't want to be the ring bearer. I have to, if Frodo's dead, I have to take the ring and I have to go to Mordor myself. But I don't want to. I don't want to be that guy. I want Frodo to be the hero of this story. But he realizes that he doesn't have a choice. It has to be done. He has to become the ring bearer. And then Frodo, you know, he's not dead, and Frodo gets to still be the hero. But in book 3, we watch Sam. He's still the hero, just in a really different way. Frodo can barely stand up on his own at this point, and Sam is sacrificing his own food, his own water, his own sleep. He's going without in every capacity to make sure that Frodo is cared for, so that Frodo is the one that delivers the ring. Then Sam gets to the point where, off of no food, no water, no sleep, he has to pick Frodo up and actually carry him up the mountain. Oh my gosh, it's emotional. He says, I have no idea how we're gonna get out of this. I am probably never gonna get down from that mountain. But if I get to the top of that mountain just to die after the mission has been accomplished, that's fine, as long as we can see it through and make sure it happens. Sam's one of the best written characters in literature. He's just, oh my gosh. Of course, Frodo's going through the worst time in his life, so we don't really get to see Frodo, you know, and all that he's able to do. But the amount of sacrifice that he makes throughout this entire story, I think, is testament enough that he's wonderful as well. I don't like the eagle. It's so just, after spending so much time watching them traverse the mountain and see them nearly die and have to sacrifice so much to get to where they're going, and then you get to the top, they finally accomplish their mission, they finally finish, and then you as the reader, you just think, what do we do now? How will they get down? All the food's gone, all the water is gone, they're exhausted, they're done. Like, how do they get to civilization again, to resources again before they die? Like, how are they gonna do it? And the convenience that the eagle provides is disappointing, because there's so much struggle to get to the top, and then the convenience that comes after that, I don't like it. Another thing that I didn't love, I believe it's Éowyn, the way that she's in love with someone throughout this entire book, and then suddenly she goes, oh, nope, turns out, actually, I love you, let's get married, cool, we'll live happily ever after. It was weird. It wasn't satisfying. Tolkien does such a great job at building up relationships, and it just felt weird the way he handled this one. Anyway, after the big battle, after everything that goes down, we then get to go back to the Shire, find out that the Shire is overrun by bad people. And so Frodo and Sam, we follow them, we watch them cleanse the Shire. Sam gets married, has kids. Frodo and Sam can't be apart, so they live together. Their relationship never goes back to, servant and master. And it continues being this brotherly, intense love between the two. And then, because they essentially outlive everyone in their lives, the story ends with them going off into another adventure together, which I think is just really, really beautiful. This entire ending is definitely bittersweet. We have a lot of the magical things of this world dying out or having to go into hiding to create the world that we have now. And of course, seeing Sam outlive his family is very sad, but it also just ends on such a beautiful note of these two who have such a deep relationship, and them going off on adventures together still. It's wonderful. Also, I have to mention Legolas and Gimli and their relationship. I mentioned in my last video about how funny it was that Gimli wanted to bring Legolas home with him to, show him the beauty of his land and his culture, and Legolas responded with, "Great, let's do that. We'll go home to my land first, and I'll show you how the elves live, and I'll show you the beauty of my place, and then we'll go to where you live, and we can share that too." And Gimli's response is, "No, I don't want to do that. But if I have to suffer visiting the elves so that you can share a drink with me with the dwarves, then I guess that's the way we'll do it." It's just, their relationship is amazing to me. And I love that they did that. That's actually what they did. When it was all done and over, they went back with Legolas to his land first, and then moved on to the dwarves so that they could stay together and they could experience each other's cultures. And Gimli is still begrudgingly doing it. He's like, much to his displeasure, they go to the elven land first and then to his. And I've loved the growth of their relationship, and I loved that even at the end, Gimli still has this sour attitude, this sour thought process towards Legolas, towards elves in general, and that doesn't change. But also Legolas, he doesn't care. The point is their camaraderie and their relationships are just done so well in this story. Anyway, this reread has been awesome. I've enjoyed it so much. I still have a lot more rereads to do and a lot more to learn about this world. I have read the Silmarillion. I plan on rereading it soon. Maybe not right away. I could probably explore some other things first and then come back to the Silmarillion, but I will soon because I love it and I want to read it again. But I want to read this series again. I don't want to stop. I want to read The Lord of the Rings over and over again. I want to know it as well as some of you guys do. But the second read through has been so much fun. I've enjoyed myself so much. And I'd love to chat with you more about it in the comments. I post videos every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I post my reviews on off days. See you guys soon.